Hello, it is hard to make video about mosses because mosses are very small and not quite remarkable to photograph or make videos about particular plants. But here is one of the largest mosses, Polytrichum, and I will try to explain why moss is a moss, what makes moss the moss, you can say that. So from these plants, among them, you can frequently see plants which have some brown attachments on tops. So these plants, they look like they have two parts, the green lower part and a brown upper part. The most interesting is, this is not a plant. There are two. So lower part is one plant and brown upper part is another plant. Brown part called sporophyte or sometimes sporogon, and green part called gametophyte. So this is a principal organization of moss life cycle. Gametophyte, the green part, will grow, will branch probably, make stems, leaves, accumulate carbohydrates with photosynthesis, and then at some point it will need to make a sex, because gene flow should refresh the content of genes inside the population. Otherwise, evolution is not possible. Okay, how to make a gene flow? In that case, green plant will provide sexual cells, exactly how it is in our body. So male cells, spermatozoa, or female cells, egg cells. But you can see the problem. Plants don't move. So they can only use external agents which help them to fertilize. If this thing is in the water, no problem. So spermatozoa can easily swim in the water. But on the land, well, it is really complicated. You need the free water, either streams or mist, or preferably rain, or some temporary pools, anything which will allow spermatozoa to swim to egg cells of different plants. Important is different plants, of course. Otherwise, well, it will be self-fertilization, which is not quite beneficial. Well, this is fundamental restriction. Fundamental restriction in moss life. They simply cannot grow tall. Imagine, well, making sex on the roof of skyscraper. So this is complicated, and even more complicated that you need the water, like making sex on the roof of skyscraper under the rain. So this is complicated, and this is why mosses do not grow tall. The tallest of them is these Polytrichums, which sometimes grow that big. There's some records from New Zealand even bigger, but typically they don't grow very big. They all few centimeters. So because that is the only way how they can catch the external water. Even in this population of Polytrichum, plants which have brown attachments, sporogons, sporophytes, results of fertilization, they are smaller than others. So taller plants don't have any sexual organs. Understandable, because water will not be staying on these skyscraper tops for a long time. Again, this and also poikilohydricity, which is inability to keep water forcibly inside the plant. These two things will fundamentally restrict the ability of mosses to be tall and conquer more ecological niches. Of course, you can restructure the life cycle somehow. Well, both three structures which I have in mind are very painful, because first idea is what? Okay, if you cannot fertilize on tops of gametophytes with efficiency, make gametophytes very small, very tiny, but the brown part, sporophyte, will become green, branched, will have leaves, so it will be main part, and gametophyte will be temporary part. That's what ferns did. So ferns is a variant of the life cycle, of same kind of life cycle, but in fern case, this brown attachment, sporophyte, is a dominant, whereas the green part, gametophyte, is temporary. It's called protalium. It doesn't really grow for a long time. Some records exist, they grow for years, but most of ferns will make it only for a few weeks. Another thing which didn't happen, but it's in my mind, okay, if you don't want to use water, you might use wind or even insects, but in that case, you must enclose spermatozoa in some kind of, well, compartments which will survive the transportation through the air. And then female part, when these balls, compartments will arrive on it, will probably provide some kind of liquid to initiate the cell fusion. That seed plants did. So conifers and flowering plants did it. But in a moss world, that adaptation did not exist for some reason. So mosses then are restricted to the very low level of forest floor. In many forests, they are dominating plants, but still small and insignificant. So when fertilization occurs, the egg cell, fertilized egg cell zygotes start to grow and will grow into this brown sporophyte part. So that part is very reduced. It behaves like a parasite because it does not do any photosynthesis. And on the top of that part, you will see sporangium. Sporangium which opens and releases spores. So this is the extreme of mosses life cycle. Green, branched, very viable gametophyte, and reduced brown non-photosynthetic sporophyte. So these are what mosses are, why mosses, and how mosses are mosses. On the case of Polytrichum, and I'm sitting in a cryptomeria forest in Japan, not far away from Kyoto, and today is August 1st. Thank you.